Mr. Ratcliffe, if you do the invocation for you.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Father, we thank you for this day. Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you give us today and each and every day. Father, we just thank you for the great blessing of being able to live in Fannin County. Father, we just thank you for that. Father, we just ask your blessings upon these guys tonight, Father, that they do the right thing for the county tonight, Father. Just lead them, guide them, and direct them, Father. We just ask these things in your ever so holy name, Father. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Unfinished business, we'll look over the minutes from the last meeting. Mr. Johnson, do you have any errors or omissions in minutes from the last?
I have no objections.
Commissioner Patterson?
No, sir, I have no objections as well.
Okay. I'll ask for a motion that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Make the motion.
Get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Finish up on finished business. Moving into the new business, we have a variance request for DNH land development. This would be lot number 7. Commissioner Patterson.
I went up and looked at it the other day, and it is very steep, as the details attest to. But the 20 feet from the edge of Foster Cove Road and 30 feet from the center line, I think that would be good. I don't see a problem in it.
Okay. Mr. Johnson.
I have no objection to the variance.
Okay. I will ask for a motion to approve this variance on lot number 7.
I make a motion to approve.
Get a second on that motion?
Second.
All in favor? I will abstain from voting on this one and the next one as well. All right, variance was approved. Number 4, another request from DNH Land Development. This will be lot number 9, which is in the same subdivision. Commissioner Johnson?
I have no issues.
Mr. Patterson?
I have no issues as well. It's just a little bit beyond the lot 7, and it's still steep, but it's fine.
We'll ask for a motion to approve the variance request.
Make a motion.
I'll ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor? Variance approved. Line number 5, variance request for Craig and Dawn Flowers. Mr. Patterson?
Let's see. This one's over on Deer Trails, with a home and porches 20 feet from the edge and 30 feet from the center line. Again, it's similar to the others. But no, I don't have any objections to this variance.
Mr. Johnson?
I have no issues.
I don't have any issues either make a, is there anybody here that opposes or represents the Flowers? Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the variance request for Mr. and Ms. Flowers. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Number 6, we have a variance request for OTF Holdings. This will be in the Old Tacoma Farms off of Curtis Switch. And it's to place cottages 5 feet from the property lines. I do know Mr. Patterson, Mr. Johnson both went out there and took a look at it. I think there was an issue, we were gonna change that,
The deed?
yeah, the deed. I think we're going from 5 feet to 8 feet. And that was, with the approval, I think, Keith Nicholson went out on that as well.
Yes, yes, we went out there.
Mr. Johnson, you have any?
No, no issues.
Mr. Patterson?
No, I don't have any issues.
Okay, is there anybody here opposing? So we'll just make that notation on the variance request form, and I'll ask for a motion that we approve the variance request from OTF Holdings.
I make a motion.
I'll second. All in favor? Number 7, I know it's been a little bit since we've had an ISO rating update. So I've asked Larry Thomas to come up and give that for us. Mr. Thomas, if you will. Wouldn't mind doing that for us, I sure would appreciate it.
In fact, I've got a few copies here. I don't want to give you all. Hopefully this will be a little bit better than the last one. In fact, I will add to this while I'm passing this out, and I want everybody to know that I do feel blessed to be here tonight. In fact, I don't know if all Lugans are aware of it, I'm just gonna bring it up. If you wanna talk about it after the meeting, we'll talk about it. But this myectomy that I ended up having, which is open heart surgery, went a whole lot better than scheduled for me. I had it scheduled that I'd be in a wheelchair for a year on that, but it didn't turn out that way. So, but anyway, what you see on the front here is just a cover sheet. And that cover sheet just basically goes up. If you know how it starts out, this was an email that I kind of pasted, but the email's in the back of it. Chief, this was completed today. The department has improved in class. Then it went on. You'll notice that one was received on January 27th, today 13 p.m. January 27th at 8:27 p.m. He also emailed me and said that this would take several months to go through the process. They are into the process now as far as getting it published. And publishing, it does take a long time, as we all know from before. We got the letter saying it was going to go up in class, and it seemed like it took it forever to ever go into effect, but that's what we're waiting on now. I wish it would just go away, but if you'll notice, right on down, you know, I called Mike and spoke to him briefly. Now that's what I wrote, it's on the bottom. And the protection class, briefly referenced the protection class for us, and he told me that we were going back to the protection class 5. We've just got to wait until they send the report out.
Is this Michael Morash?
Michael Morash, that's
Who
correct.
told you that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And when we from a 5 to a 6, how long did it take for that paperwork to come out? I mean, was that the same thing? Did it take months, or did we go from a 5 to a 6 immediately, or?
No, it took several months.
Okay.
Before it was published. And it very well may take several months. He didn't give me any ideas, because this was where we would actually, we went back and said, no, we feel like we've got it, we need to go ahead and push on through with it, and that's where I left it, you know, right before, it was the first part of November, is when I finished up giving all the information that we had compiled together. And then it was after I'd come back from surgery, and after I got back in the swing of it, then I got back in, and then again, I got to talk to you. But you'll notice some of the emails in the back, match what's up here. It's just kind of like pasted to the front of it, so.
So Larry, did you say when we're going to actually get the paperwork and we'll see that number drop?
He wouldn't give me a date on it.
Right.
He just said that it would take a while.
Well, this was January. Now, have you contacted him any more recently?
More than that, I think.
Yeah. Actually, the last time I talked to him was probably 2 weeks ago, a week ago, something like that. Actually, it was right before the last meeting that y'all had. Y'all's last meeting was it virtual?
No, it was here.
But he didn't allow anything else other than what I've already got here, so.
And these are his words. I mean, I know you called him, but we're going back to a PC class 5, that 5, and he.
And we're not gonna stop with that either, you know, we're shoving on that.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's the whole thing. At least it appears that we're gonna get, go from 6 to 5, and I think you know we need to set goals.
That's
To
right.
even try to improve on that, 'cause, you know, as a regular citizen, I think we know the difference, and that it costs the citizens here about, like with insurance, for instance. So, for that to come back down to class 5, I mean, that's a pretty good start, but let's just keep hammering on it. So, Commissioner Johnson, you got anything?
I mean, from what I can remember, it seems like it's a slow process no matter what happens, but, when we dropped to a 6, we had basically 1 year before they would reevaluate,
That's right.
and that was November was the drop dead date on that, correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the published date, because it had to go, it had to go so long. I was thinking, for some reason, it was a little bit less than a year that we had to go, but as far as that goes, got a verbal appeal in, and with that, we started moving forward with another, I think Earl is right, they wanted us to get 1 year in at least, and then go back and reevaluate, so.
So by his words, Chief, this will take several months to go through the process. This was at the end of January, on January 27th. He's still talking about a couple of months from that date, I suppose.
In fact, it's just now leaving his hands, actually, and he's the guy that we work with in the field. Actually, he is the community hazard mitigation manager, and I can't remember what Mike Stokes was, and what his title was, but he's like a field coordinator for that, but, Mike, Morash, he's the actual manager overall.
So once they publish this, that we are going back to a 5, or improve, let's say improving to a 5, because when it says go back, it sounds like it's getting worse.
Getting worse.
And so when we're improving from a 6 to a 5, then at that point, all the insurance agencies can apply that rate to quote new insurances to hopefully bring the premiums where they were, at least.
Yeah, and that's what they go on, that's their published dates, what they go on.
So when they publish that, at that point, from there forward, is when people will see their rates go back at least to whatever that difference was from a 5 to a 6.
Well, and since you said that, I will have to say this, I talked to several insurance companies, and just with that 1 point increase, a lot of them told me that there wasn't much of a margin, and they didn't worry about it, so. But some
But a
of them.
bunch of them did.
Some of them. did.
I've heard from all the ones that did.
I'm
If it
sure,
cost them
yeah.
$10 more a year, they were aggravated about it, so.
Well,
it's,
anytime it costs you some more,
Yeah.
it's going to. But it's a work in progress. In fact, a 5 is getting it on down. I know we were really proud of that 5 when we got it to start with back in 2012, 13, whenever it was it come. So,
But as you were saying earlier, I think it's a very good idea to keep shoving forward as much money as we put into fire and EMS. I mean, I think we need to keep striving to get the number on down. And
Yeah.
hopefully with more water throughout the county with the Water Authority Board and everyone that,
that's going to help a lot.
and we get all of our fire hydrants working order. I mean, I just think that's gonna have to be continuous, no matter whether we're in a year of them auditing our fire services or not. You know, I think it's very crucial every year. It's just a constant maintenance for our fire hydrants.
And we're doing that now with the 2 guys that we've got, that y'all allowed us to have. They go out and do every hydrant every year. And that's one of the things that they look for. It's just like with the hose testing and the ladder testing and all like that, making it happen every year.
So it's not something you're just planning on doing this year to get this done.
No.
We're gonna keep.
We're already working on the 3rd year now.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
because maybe the next conversation we have is, hey, you went to the board.
yeah.
Might be a
You do
while.
know that they recommend coming every 5 years to do these studies too, so. But if we request, if we're getting good and requested, but we've got to know too that it takes extra personnel to get that number on that too. That, just the 2 that we got per shift, helped out a great deal. Personnel is.
So there's a list there that they check off, and we can actually get a copy of that list as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's not listed telling you what you've got to have. It's,
Well, if they mark you off, it's what you didn't have though, right?
that's right. Now,
Okay.
yes, we will get that, a list saying where we scored the best, or the score as far as the overall list.
Yeah, there's gotta be a baseline somewhere that we can judge ourselves against.
Well, there's just a few departments over Georgia that's protection class 1. Savannah was the first one.
But we're nowhere near one.
No, but we're going to go.
We're still at a 5. Let's just
That's a
shoot
goal.
that forward.
With y'all's help, we'll go there. And then I'll not be there in my time, but it's gonna take a few years to get there.
Well, it gives us something to work for sure.
It's a goal.
Commissioner Patrick, got anything?
No, Larry, I appreciate you working hard on this. Glad to see that we're heading in the right direction, and can't wait to see that we're actually published and go down
That's right.
to a 5. I'm sure you'll let us know just as soon as
Yes, sir.
you get that information.
Yes.
Thank you, Larry.
One more question, I'll let you go from. So from the time that it went from a 5 to a 6, and I'm just trying to gauge maybe the time frame. Do you remember how many months it was that it took to actually go into place where we went from a 5 to a 6? Was it 3 months, 2 months, 5 months? You
Well, it felt like eternity. I'm gonna ask for a little help. Patrick,
You
do
remember
you
back?
remember how many?
It was several months, I don't remember exactly,
I
but
was
it was
thinking
several
3
months.
plus.
Okay, all right, so that might be somewhere we can gauge the time frame where it might come back down.
Right.
Okay, all right, I'm just trying to,
But, and the reason I asked Patrick, we're all in, 911 is one of the factors, and the water departments is one of the factors, so.
okay.
And then we did upgrade ours this time, or last year, with, as far as what we're moving along with, which was a plus 2 with the items that the county's putting in.
What your training, because that was another problem back then. How have y'all improved it?
Well, actually, we've got an online program now that we use. It's the same system that Hall County uses. And when we can't get together as often as we need to, we've also got that online stuff that we can go back and get on.
So they have like different opportunities to get the continuing training or
Yes.
education, whatever you want to call it.
And the online was the addition that we added since the increase in that, so.
So y'all have changed the way we're doing that now to keep all that up to standard.
Yep, and we've got a training each Monday night too. In fact, we had one last night, very lengthy class. In fact, one of our reporters, Sydney, she come up there and actually took pictures. Hopefully they'll all end up in the paper, or some of them, I know you took a lot of pictures. But we had a pretty good crowd there last night with, social distancing and all that, so.
Because that, my advice to the fire department and 911, the more things you can do to let the people know how we're improving, the better off we are. You know, let people know the information, like, that's the only reason I'm asking about training. I can vaguely remember the things that were a problem. They had a problem with the way we were doing. So if we can expound on each one of those and let everyone know, this is what we're doing to improve it, it'll be better public relations. They're gonna say, hey, the fire department is doing something to get this number down. 911 is doing something to get this down. The local water departments are doing something to get it down. I think a little bit of more information from all the departments together will let everyone out there know that, okay, we're at 5. If everybody keeps working together, which has gotta happen, you know, it's gotta happen. Water, if you have to have a water to put out a fire, you have to have a good fire hydrant when you go get the water. So with everybody working together, we can all work together and get that number down, if we, you know, if at all possible. But I think we need to get that information out there to let everybody know what y'all are doing, rather than no one, you know, I haven't heard anything about ISO in a long time now. And I think what you're saying tonight is good information that needs to be gotten out there, to let people know that, okay, people are actually doing things to get this number back to where it was at least.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, say good news, Larry.
Exactly.
Tell people, you know, about the training and everything.
We're there, right, Susan? And I would call them her, but I don't remember your first name.
It's Lauren.
Long, okay.
Larry, let me ask you before you go with the thing now, what about our pensions? How's it going?
Pension stuff.
Yes.
They're holding up on that. They've got all the information that they needed from us, and we're just waiting on them right now. So, and I don't know if I've seen y'all since I went down and had the meeting with them, and told them how the department was, you know, operating half of that, and that's what they wanted to know, how this was set
So
up.
they've got all the information, they're just trying to mull over it and
Yeah.
make a decision?
And he did make a comment to me the last time I spoke to him that this COVID thing has actually slowed them down a lot. And he would give that it might be another year. And I said,
Before we know something?
yes. And that's Dave Woods that I'm talking to.
I'll feed it to you. I got 2 more things. I apologize.
Go with it.
This, and honestly, this is information, but on the ISO rating, does that also include like our volunteer fire base? The volunteers, are they included, or is it just full-time personnel only?
No, it's volunteers too.
Okay.
But I don't know if y'all can remember, I made a quote way back when we first started giving ISO updates. One full-time person on duty, it takes 3 volunteers to equal that one full-time person. So if I've got 6 volunteers, I've got a total out of those 6 volunteers of 2 full-time people. But the ratios that they run with, I don't agree with, but, as far as some of the other changes that we had in our procedures, just quick, I guess, on the paging out the number of engines per house fire. If we were paging out 3, Mike Stokes, the other gentleman with ISO, said you need a total of 69 people there. I don't know how they figure that. 20 people's using somebody's getting somebody's way. And 20 to 25 people on scene is plenty for a house fire.
Are there different? So what you just said right there, if, you know, they would require 69 people.
Yeah, their
Okay,
ratio.
all right, their ratio. Are there separate ratios for, say, like Atlanta, in the city as opposed to a rural area? In other words, are they the same across the board?
They're the same across the board.
I mean, maybe that's something that we need to talk to them, and, because I mean, obviously in the city of Atlanta, for instance, you know, you have houses that are right on top of each other, you got high-rise buildings, you know, larger facilities, if you will, and it would require more, I could see that. But in a rural area, especially if you're going up a back road or something to that effect, and you're trying to get 69 people
Where you gonna
at
park?
the end of Highway 2, you know, it's not gonna happen. But I guess my point would be, who would a person talk to find out if the ratios could be changed per area? I mean, is that a possibility, or do they say, hey, here it is, sorry about your luck?
It's
You know.
it's a question that, yeah, we do need to get thrown out there, I guess, but, that's just.
Because I know with our volunteer base, not what it used to be, and that we've got to do some more recruitment as far as that goes as well. We know that, we've talked about it. Hopefully we can get back up to par soon. That's our goal, so, sorry guys.
So that must hinder, I like it too, I got more for you, the more we talk.
But hey, I think question number 5, the 69, wasn't it about 69?
Based on the 3 volunteers equals 1 paid person, you
Yes.
would need 69 volunteers.
69 volunteers.
Volunteers,
Right.
okay,
So
okay.
how many people is that? What's that quick math, Larry?
23.
Why that?
23.
Yeah, 23.
23
23 paid.
paid.
So there's not 23 paid people in any county around us. What do they do when the house catches on fire?
The volunteers show up.
They don't have as good an ISO rate.
Some of them, most of the surrounding counties got better than us, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, they're working on theirs in Union
I
County.
mean, just
Theirs in
from
Union
what I've
County's a full
researched, like Pickens County, they pretty good ISO rate. And then where they're hurting is they're outlying. They're kind of like us. I judge us against Gilmer, Pickens, and Union just because we're kind of, you know, they probably got more people, but geographically and stuff like that, I mean, they don't have in their whole department. I mean, so that's I think that's an unfair ratio for them to judge us against.
Right.
So there's nothing we can do about that.
We did, yeah, we did, we cut back on one of the engines, but the only reason we were taking out that third engine is for the water supply. So for that, we put another truck in a tanker slot to hold water. Because when we get out in suburbs, bad stuff, we don't have hydrants. And we're gonna have to pick a hydrant or even pick a body of water and shovel that water. And, you know, sometimes we have to 20,000 gallons of water in a fire like that.
So there's a way to beat that ratio with more tankers or more equipment.
That's what we're working on.
Okay. So it's not a realistic ratio saying that 3 engines have to go to every fire. They're saying if you do call for 3 engines, then you should have
Yeah, as far as
a whole, all the call well better come with it. So that's crazy. And then another question here, rung the bell. That 69 number got me off of.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people. So there was one more question about the ISO. It was something that graded us on. I can't think of it right now. It was it. You jogged my memory just a second ago. Oh, I know what it is. It's him. The water authorities and cities, Howard, what's an update on them? Because I know at one time there was a bunch of blame game about who's supposed to fix the hydrants, were they, that some of them weren't fixing hydrants.
Oh, yeah.
And then some of them said the county was chopping the hydrants down. How's that relationship going now?
Yeah, that's good. it's good.
with all the different entities and,
We had a sit down with all the city officials, some of them council members and the mayors, and we put together a plan. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna report it anytime that we find a hydrant that's out of service. And yeah, we had a few, several, let's say, that way, it was out of service when we first went through and done the first good round.
right.
And now that list is very small.
So see, I think that's the news we need to be sharing, is that we're fixing that problem as well.
In fact, we had one run over just the other night, and that information got to us like it should. We didn't work the accident, it was just a law enforcement accident. But that information got back to us quick enough to say, okay, get the email done while we're doing the email, and get one from the waterworks, email say, yeah, we're already there. We'll have it reinstalled by this time next week, or something to that effect.
Really? All right.
Teamwork.
That's right.
That's what it was. Because I remember there was another issue that arose out of all that, and I think it was whose responsibility was it to fix, or some of them weren't gonna fix. What about the markings of the hydrants? Have y'all done that? Like, you know, the blue reflectors or anything?
Not as many as what we want to. We're actually pondering some of the ideas. We're still going with the paint deal because it lasts longer
Yeah.
than the reflector. The city has already started in that. There are a number of numbers, Blue Ridge City is. And they're gonna have a numbering system just for the ones in their area. And as far as that goes, Morganton, Blue Ridge, and McCaysville have already got people in place that's clearing around them and actually making them more visible. We've got some that's gonna have markers in. If I'm not mistaken, Zach, have we put markers on some of them too, some of our county ones? Yeah, actually putting up reflective markers where it'll make it visible before somebody gets in there bush hogging and, oh gosh, there's a hydrant there. So, but I think, yeah, it's a real plus there as far as the out of service hydrants, not like it used to be. In fact, this is our third year doing it, so they haven't started checking yet, we're just waiting on a little better weather. The weather's just not been right, full water on freezing streets, so.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Good information. So, number 8, I know at one time we had an Adopt a Road program, that was, done pretty well for quite a while. I think some of the folks, me and Miss Woody had actually talked about it and was working on it, and, what we ended up doing, I'll just let you pick up from there. So, Miss Woody.
Thank you. Here's your list of all the people that's currently on it, and I'll give you some explanations. The Adopt a Road program started, I believe, in 2010 or 11. And previously, there were 64 families or individuals on that list. I sent out an email to all of them who had the email addresses. Out of those, 37 responded and are still active. 3 were deceased. 2 had not participated in years. 16 didn't respond. 6 others were no longer property owners and did not respond. But the good news is, during this time, we picked up 4 new people. Once y'all approve the Adopt a Road application, we'll send newsletters out and some emails to all the participants, and we'll update all the applications. So I'd sent y'all each a copy of this. I didn't make extra copies tonight, I kind of forgot, but we just changed a couple of sentences in here and just retyped it so that it looked more presentable, because it was getting kind of worn out.
Also, I think you sent out a letter,
I sent out.
and the reason, I think the reason we got this, again, we were starting to get a lot of calls about trash being thrown in and about the county and things like that. We got an abundance of calls really quick. And you'd also got a letter sent up to the haulers.
Yes, on February 5th, we sent out a letter to the haulers.
Okay. And I know we had a detail coming from the detention center, correct? Yeah, you know, and they were kind of quarantined, if you will, for COVID, so we didn't have anything going on there.
Right.
Probationers, are they still?
Every Saturday, yes.
So the probationers kind of reached out to Judge Weaver, I believe he did, and we were able to get some probationers to help pick up again. So I think the first Saturday, Ratcliffe, if you remind me on this, first Saturday they went out, they picked up a dumpster full, correct? Okay.
How many you got?
How many probationers come out? Do you know right off
I
the
don't have any idea how many, there must have been several of them, because they picked up several miles.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, and I may be wrong on this, but I think the first day he brought a half a dozen out. So there may be more, depending on, you know, the time frame, the weather, and things like that. But I still think they picked up every weekend, rain or shine.
Yeah.
So at least think we'll get back on board with some of that. Y'all have any questions for Nick Wood?
I'd like to keep that up. That's a good plan. Do you have, Zach, any idea when the other guys are gonna make it back? Have I heard?
Not for this COVID slows down a little bit on them. Every time they get a chance to get people in, they get it again, they go quarantine again.
Okay.
It's up and down.
So it's important for us to keep the judge people, keep them picking up. And we've got a lot of need for that.
I think Ms. Woody gets all the paperwork ready. We can hit the adopt a road program again, hot and heavy, and I think it'll have we hope for it to have a positive impact on the county. So, Mr. Johnson, do you have anything?
I will share, oh, excuse me.
No, go ahead.
I will share this with you today. I received a video of somebody picking up garbage alongside their Adopt a Road program, and it was Sherry Wilson, and I don't know which number she is on this list. It may be in the order. I think she's got it under a family name. Yes, it's number 10. They pick up Doublehead Gap Road, and they made a video today of it. They actually take their garbage to the Union County Transfer Station. Not Fannin. Sorry about that. Don't read that. Please. But anyway, she sent me a video, and I'm going to share it with you because I didn't want to share it without asking permission. So I'm going to share that with you. And it's, you know, it's really nice to know that people are really doing this. And once they had it all picked up, they took it to the truck. They dumped their bags, they sorted out the aluminum cans, and then they put the other garbage in a garbage bag. And so they're recycling as they're picking up the garbage. But she did give me permission to share it, so I'll share it with y'all and everything. So I just thought that was pretty neat. I'm sorry, Earl. Did you have a question?
Speaking of what we call the Caldwell Detention Center, how is that working right now? We're paying nothing.
Zero.
All right.
Until they show up, just like they would if they were on the block, and when they show up, we pay them, otherwise no.
All right. So that's been going on for a long time.
Correct.
All right. Just my opinion from what I've been seeing the past year or so, until we crack down on these haulers. I mean, I just saw it last Thursday. I have a picture of the truck. I have the truck. I even stopped. He had a whole bag blow out in front of where Tom Jordan lives, right down the street from Patterson Lumber. Blew everywhere. Well, he was being a good citizen. He came back and he picked up the bag with what was left in it and threw it in the truck with sideboards with gaps this wide, which the bag I'm sure fell out of. No tarp, no net, no nothing. And I just asked him, I said, were you gonna pick the rest of this up? He just looked at me and got in the truck and drove off. Well, of course, I'm not an enforcement officer, but till we enforce some of these things, it's not gonna get any better, because every hauler besides a few, or what, I mean, and it doesn't take much to catch them. I mean, anywhere you go. I know on Lebanon Road, there are 3 different haulers. One comes out of, I'm guessing it's Cahutta Ranch, and he comes stroking right down through Ritchie Creek, and I'll tell you, he has nothing on his truck. It's, I don't understand, why we can't make these people secure their loads. Because it's, I'm gonna say, now this is just a guess to me, it's at least half of our problem. Because you see these heavy bags of garbage, that didn't blow out the back of a truck, or, you know, a casual, forget it sitting on the trunk of the car, or something like that. I mean, you know, these heavy bags of garbage that are being lost, and Highway 2 has been, predominantly, and I know they're coming probably off of, We Hunt, you know, all those rental cabins, and I don't know if these rental cabins have their own garbage services or what. I mean, because a lot of them don't have, well, they do, and I mean, because I just want us to do something, to do our job, to get them to start securing their load. Because till we do something, we can have 5 sets of probationers, and we can have, you know, all these people. I mean, I'm looking at this, this one person, whoever Lynn and Robin Fry, they're picking up 6 bags a week. That's a lot of garbage. I mean, you start going through here and looking at what these people are reporting they do. You know, Highway 5 is another, even though it's a state route, you start looking at the amount of garbage bags that are blown out on Highway 5, and they're all going right to the transfer station, either out on Tom Boyd Road, or the ones that continue on and go to, I guess it's AWS. But I don't know what we do. I guess it would be a legal question to, at some point, we're gonna have to enforce this, or they're just gonna keep on. I mean, when I asked the guy, and I wasn't being rude or anything, I was like, you gonna pick the rest of that up? And he just looked at me and got back in his truck and drove off. And that's kind of the attitude with a lot of these private garbage haulers, because, I mean, it made a mess in front of that house. And it's a shame, really, that people do that. But we can't stop people from littering, but I think we can go a long way to stop these haulers from, because when it hits the ground and explodes, it is one more mess.
Yeah. What's our current status, Ms. Woody? What do we do with that? Nothing? Or what's our, do we have a law or
We
a
have a
statute?
law.
A statute?
We have an ordinance. Currently, I cannot write a citation. The state of Georgia changed the law that you have to be a mandated officer. I am a code enforcement officer. I'm not a mandated by the state officer going to school like a deputy would do. I am not a mandated officer, so therefore I cannot write a citation. It would have to come from an officer that's been to mandate school.
So we need to send you to Gypstick, is that what you're saying?
Where
Okay.
I mean,
So-
we have to get somebody that the state says can write the citations.
So let me ask a question, and I've just been, you know, back up just a little bit, as far as, I know Ms. Woody had mentioned to me, about a week ago about, and we're seeing a lot of private haulers, obviously, but like making specs for those, I think you said like the side rails and stuff like that, for small, medium, and large trucks. Now, that being said, we'd also, talked about the possibility of, at some point in time, looking into a, we would call him, I think, a marshal, county marshal, something like that,
Yeah.
to enforce ordinances, just in general. So he would, and if I'm right on that.
So say you did something like that, you could have them stationed at drop-off point A on Monday. Anybody that pulled in that didn't have tar, you could write them a citation. And maybe on Tuesday, they're back at A, but on Tuesday, they could also be at point C. I mean, in other words, there couldn't be a pattern, or else they'd know what to do. But just literally, they turn off the road and they turn in, there's no tar. They have an officer there that's authorized by the state to write this violation. Probably do that for a month, get them, most of them in line.
Could it be like an off-duty officer, as long as they've been to mandate?
Yes, yes.
I mean, there's gotta be a way we can do this, I mean, because it's getting so awful now, and I think it's not good. With the rental cabins, I mean, there are so many fingers moving out there to, you know, to keep, it's just so much bigger than it used to be. In 5 years, it's doubled. And, yeah, if it was an off-duty officer or something, I mean, they could just ride around the county, because I see them all the time, and it aggravates me, you know, because, in our business, you have to secure your load. And I'll tell you how quick it travels through, like, we all know when the DOT's in our area. It travels that morning very fast. Everybody tells you where he's at and what he's doing. Every truck driver knows it. So see, the same thing will happen if these garbage haulers here, you know, I don't know what the fine is, whatever that amount.
$410 to $1,000.
Okay, so 1 or 2 of those tickets, and they're not gonna be caught on any of our county roads without a tarp on their load, period. Because, I mean, it happens like the unsecured load in my business means you don't have enough bucks and straps or chains on a piece of equipment. You get a $400 ticket, it doesn't take, or you don't have good enough tires. I mean, you start learning, in other words, it goes through the channels very quick. And I don't think it would take very long, but, and it's not really necessarily our serious haulers, it's just, I mean, I see people just in regular pickups with these makeshift sideboards. I'm like, where this guy? He didn't have a name on his truck or anything. But he was,
I've had that report on him about 4 or 5 times now. I don't know who he is. But I'll be glad to let you look through the list and see if it might be somebody you know, because I got a list of haulers.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I know who he is, I'm gonna say.
Well, that's what I said. I got a list if you'd like to look at it.
But I'm not, either way, me seeing or not seeing it doesn't matter because I'm not a mandated officer. But what I'm saying, if the county even has to hire one of our deputies or whoever, or a retired deputy, it's still, I don't know how mandate works or whatever.
They have to do so many hours of
Well,
certification.
whatever that is, you know, or is a bailiff mandated?
No.
No, it has to be like,
It might have been at one point in time.
Yeah.
It'd be like Todd Pack if he was retired or something.
So if we pay them and send them out in a county truck, I mean, and don't just send it to the transfer stations, just driving a circle from 60 out to, you know, to Copper Hill, Mobile Road, and come back, and I guarantee he'll catch 3 of them. Because it is a shame that the amount of garbage when that stuff hits the ground. And Highway 5 is just, we all see it when we're taking our kids to school, we're going to work every morning. You're coming up Highway 5 and you see one, you're like, oh my gosh, what a mess.
Styrofoam everywhere.
Yeah.
So we had, Zach had picked up some garbage today out off of, Caldwell Church Road, was it? And we went through it, and we did happen to find a name, and I've made a call to that number. But the note inside of the garbage said, we did not find an outside garbage can, so we left the garbage in the kitchen. Literally, that's what the note said. We had a good time at the rental. We left the garbage in the kitchen. And so whoever picked it up from the cleaning job took it and deposited it probably out on Caldwell Church Road. That was the exact note, was it not, Zach?
So that goes in cleaning folks as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I've asked Debbie at the lodging if I could have a list of all her cabin rentals. The problem for that is there's 1,600 cabin companies or rentals, personal, private, whatever, in the county. So I considered this afternoon, after that happened, I said, well, maybe we'll send out a letter to all the cabin companies. That's 1,600 cabin companies.
it is what it is.
And,
I mean,
I'll be glad to do that.
Well,
That's another step in the right
I
direction.
think Danny was making, I don't want to under something on, but because of COVID, I think she was making like an Excel thing that we might could just email. But
Yeah,
one way or the other.
Pat, finding an officer that wants to make some extra money, I mean, because I think at this point, we gotta do something.
Yeah, we.
Because if there's not any fear of losing bags of garbage, it's gonna just keep on. And it's went on so long now that it's, I mean, it's just awful.
On Saturday, I followed a car down Highway 60 that had one of those, I don't know what they're called, tray, I call them a tray on the back of the car, and it was loaded with garbage. I took a picture of it, but of course you can't see the tag number because the garbage had it covered up. But, I mean,
But even if you have a tag number, you'll get told, can't do nothing on that.
exactly,
So-
because they won't allow me to
Because I've
run
already
a
tried
tag.
that.
Yeah, they won't let me run a tag because I'm not a mandated officer, so, but I didn't see the garbage along the road, and I drove all the way to Morganton, and they had to come down to Morganton with that load of garbage, but, I mean, I see that too. I meet trucks, and I turn around and look to see if they got the tarps on, if the back end's closed in. So maybe under the ordinance, under the, solid waste ordinance, if that was rewritten, we could put specifications in there for pickup trucks, large trucks, and what type of tarps or what kind of things are required to have them. Like enclosed back, gates or something.
Well, the state's got a term, it's called unsecured load, and it's up to the officer to decide that, so.
Right.
I mean, that's already there, we just gotta get somebody to do it. Or maybe we can get the sheriff to, refresh his deputies, look, if you see somebody driving down the road without a tarp or something holding the garbage on, or whatever that is, pull them over. I mean, I'm not saying write them all a ticket, but I guarantee you with the haulers, if a couple of them get fined, it'll stop. But until we do that, it's gonna continue.
Anything else, Mr. Patrick?
No. It'll cover it pretty well.
On another note, we had 381 building permits in 2020, that's 90 more than what we had last year.
Not anymore.
Well, thank you very much for the updates, and hopefully we can get her cleaned back up soon.
Okay, so do y'all need to vote on this adopt a road program, the, new language in here, or Lynn? They do?
Do.
Okay, well, then we'll have to be another day, because y'all don't have it on the agenda, I guess.
No, thank you, it's under you, they've got the.
What language is that in? Don't know what I understand.
Chinese, maybe Chinese. I didn't make any extra copies, but,
Take a look at it.
I don't think I have the last one, but I did remove, just a couple of things on the back, page that was removed. One of them is we can't have youth under there, so, that's just some updates there. And I sent it all out, the new one all out by email, so I don't know if everybody got it or not.
So really, basically the only word that's changed on there is it
Right here.
removes the youth.
Yeah, we can't have the
Yeah.
youth and somebody under 18 because of safety.
I got it.
Okay.
It was in English.
Yes, it was.
I got it.
I'm sorry.
It was in English when I got it.
Okay.
I didn't know if you changed it or something.
My face is red.
Well, I mean, that being said, I'll ask for a motion that we approve the new wording of the Adopt a Road program.
Make a motion.
I'll second the motion. All in favor? Any opposed?
I'll get the other version to you tomorrow. I mean, the one that don't have
Okay.
youth on.
This one don't have youth on it.
Thank you, Mr.
This is,
Yeah, but,
I got you.
yeah.
Just
I
you just marked
scratched
it
through
out.
it, yes.
Yeah, just send it to us.
Okay, I will.
All right, so, number 9, we have a reappointment of the tax assessor board. Reappointment of Jamie Bearden, who has served on board for a while. Mr. Patterson, you have any?
Yes, Janie, she's a very unique person. She's, I call her a gold star citizen of Fannin County. She is, how many years, Janie?
6.
6. And her and her husband both are very civic minded. They take ownership in what they do. Very dependable. We've got an investment with her as far as training, and she loves what she does. And that is certainly to her credit and to our advantage. And so I appreciate Jamie, and think that she would certainly be an asset to keep her on board of assessors. And thank you for your service, Jamie.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson? We'll ask for a motion to reappoint Janie Beard to the Tax Assessors Board.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Number 10 is a reappointment to the Fannin County Water Board, the reappointment of Larry Chapman. And once again, I think Mr. Chapman's been on board for a little bit. Like Mr. Beard to the Tax Assessors Board, we feel he's very valuable to the Water Authority. And Mr. Johnson, you have anything with Mr. Chapman? Mr. Patterson?
Mr. Chapman has been on it for a while. He's an expert in the area and has great knowledge. He's an engineer, and he'll be an engineer all his life, right? And I talked with Miss Anita Weaver, Mike Searcy, or Anita today, and they just love him, and he's really helped the Water Authority. And we're, again, very blessed to have him re-up. Looking forward for another successful 3 years as we move forward with the Water Authority, because our county's growing and we'll always need clean water, won't we? And we're working toward that end. But thank you, Mr. Chapman. Appreciate you, all you do for your service.
I will make the motion that we reappoint Larry Chapman to the Fannin County Water Authority. Can I have a second?
Make a second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Welcome back.
Thank you.
Number 11 is the reappointment of Angie Arp to the Fannin County Water Authority Board as well. Ms. Arp is not here this evening, but Commissioner Johnson, Mr. Patterson.
Well, with reappointing Angie as well, again, a lot of good comments from Ms. Weaver. She's experienced, as most of you know, on the city council before. There's a lot of public service for the Fannin County, and feel like that she would be certainly an asset to carry on with the Water Authority again. Big job that they have with our growing county, and so I reappointed her and appreciate her as well.
All right, I will ask for a motion that we reappoint Angie Arp to the Fannin County Water Authority Board.
Make a motion.
I'll second the motion. All in favor? Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd make a recommendation on all these appointments, just for future reference in our minutes. Because we had a problem with this about 6 years ago, is like, every one of these are certain appointments from each commissioner. If you would note that in the minutes, that way, the problem we had about 6 years ago is no one could remember who appointed
Who appointed them?
Gotcha. So.
Well, all those were mine.
They are? Okay.
Yes,
So-
all
so
those were
when you-
mine.
We had omitted one and no one,
New.
or the story anyway. It's better to outline whose appointments is whose, that way it keeps a lot of confusion down in the future. When we're all not here.
I understand.
Because some of these appointments are for like several years. those were all yours?
Yes, all of them were mine. I think all of them, what are they, 3 years, right? 3 years?
Sure. All right, number 12, Mineral Springs, 2021 funded. I received a letter from Miss Allen. I know we normally fund them in August of the year for their portion of the funding. And this year she's reached out to us a little bit sooner as COVID has hit them hard. They have went from most of their folks that they help are they're staying at home. Nobody's coming in. I think she said she only had 8 active at the time, and I think that number was substantially higher at one point in time. And she's actually reaching out to us to see if we could actually get the funded to her sooner, with the hopes that this will pass and they can get back to some sort of normal by the end of the year. We bring that up for discussion to begin with. So, Mr. Johnson, do you have anything on
No, sir.
Mr. Patrick?
Well, looking at the letter that we see here, it looks like that there's certainly a dire need, not just Miss Allen and the Mineral Springs Center, but in looking at also how the center affects Fannin County citizens and what they do for us is certainly something that's good, and it's something that's necessary and needed for any county. So I would be in favor of going ahead and helping them out this time. Hopefully they will not have to close their doors, because I would hate to see that happen. It would be a dreadful thing for Fannin County if they were to do that.
How long have they been open?
A little over 40 years, sir. And on a typical year, they service about 43 Fannin County citizens and the families from whom those citizens come from.
Right. I think right now it said they employ 15 people in Fannin County and they're serving 28. That's Fannin and Gilman.
Apologies, it was 8 virtually that they're serving.
Pardon?
It was 8 virtually that they're.
Yeah, they're trying to explore doing that a little bit more, because a lot of their funding comes through Medicaid, and they have recently learned that if they are able to provide some of the services virtually, that Medicaid will allow them to bill for those hours. So they're working with ETC to see about getting internet into some of the homes that are the facilities where these people are residing. Otherwise, they don't have that. They're working on getting laptops, Chromebooks, iPads, something there, so that they have this, because obviously it will take a third party to facilitate, but they are exploring options that will allow them to generate funds until they get over this crisis, because that center's been here too long and people have worked too hard to keep it here through the rough places to lose this valuable asset.
Right.
No other discussion. I'll make a motion that we go ahead and give them the funding that we normally do in August. I'll make a motion we go ahead and fund that now.
I second that motion.
All in favor? So number 13, we have a resolution to open up a new bank account and it is for, it's set up for animal control. So if people wanna make a donation, this account, it will be handled, you can do it through PayPal, you can make a donation straight into animal control, and that will be, supervised obviously by the commissioners, as to hopefully put the money back into the facility moving forward. Any discussion on this, Commissioner Patterson?
No, I think it's a great idea. We've seen improvements made in recent years, and we want to keep that up. I think that would be excellent to give people an opportunity to donate.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yeah, I think it'll be a very good way of showing and being able to track, you know, the amount of donations, and more importantly, track the expenses that are put back into the facility. That way everyone can see, and you know, there's gonna be record of, there's no guesswork anymore, who does more, or who cares more, or who donates more. You know, it'll all be on paper, and I think we give a lot of people the opportunity to put their money where their sayings are. So, I think it'd be a good way of helping improve things as well. And there's no other way of doing it without doing this to be able to track it all. So I don't have any issue with it.
All right, well, I will make a motion that we accept this resolution, to open a new bank account for donations for animal control. And get a second.
Second.
All in favor?
And if somebody wanted to donate anonymous, that'd be okay, right?
Sure will.
Okay.
You can donate anonymous, you can, do it via PayPal, ever how you wanna do it. It's,
We have something to sign.
yeah.
You have the original.
This is a
I have
copy.
the original.
You got the original.
Everybody knows this.
Just, no. Have a history check. Yes. Otherwise, they might report that you didn't have a history as big a posted ad.
So, number 14 was a discussion of the 2020 budgets, as it pertains to the CARES Act expenses. I know we went over it, a little bit here and there, and what I wanted to do was try to table it until this meeting to where we can get receipts, and we reached, I believe we reached out to every department head. Is that correct, Ms. Walker?
We did.
Okay, we reached out to everyone. We actually got 4, they were constitutional officers, but we got 4 back, where we got every receipt. And what this is gonna do is it reflects in last year's budget what was actually spent, to where those departments they don't show being over on their budget as much as they were. So with that being said, it roughly totaled in the neighborhood of around $78,000 with those 4 departments. So we had actually also asked them to make sure that we had everything in by this meeting, to where we could try to do, and I believe Ms. Dahl said last time we could do all of them at once?
Right.
Okay, so that's what we were trying to do, was to make this happen all at once.
And
So-
if somebody comes up with one, you can always
We can still do it. But is there any discussion, Commissioner Johnson, on this?
No, I just think it'll make all the different departments' budgets whole. It's not like we're spending the money again, it's already spent, so. We're just allocating it in the right spot. The only thing I would do is suggest that, anytime there's any projects done in the future, that any contracts come through the board of commissioners, not through individual offices. Probably the most, that would be the best way of doing it, I would say. In that way, there's none of this, there's really no confusion from the very beginning.
Mr. Patterson?
I agree with Commissioner Johnson. I think it's a good way, and feel like that, glad it's caught, but to assure it doesn't happen again, I think Commissioner Johnson's thoughts were very relevant, that we should look very hard at doing something like that coming through us.
So, and this is new to me, so bear with me. I will make a motion that we,
modify the 2020 budgets
modify the 2020 budgets
of the constitutional and county officers
of the
To re-
constitutional county officers.
to reflect appropriate COVID spending.
To reflect appropriate COVID spending. Thank you. Can I get a second? And do they have to repeat that too?
Word by word. Somebody's taking it for me to listen to.
I second.
All in favor? All right. So, number 15, no, I'm just kidding. Public commentary. If anybody wants to come up and say anything, raise your hand, come on up. Tell us your name, where you from. Anybody? All right, we'll close public commentary. Number 15, executive session. You guys have a need for executive session?
I do not.
Mr. Johnson? I'm gonna spare you this time because the last several meetings we've been in executive session, so I'll spare you this time. So, that being said, I'll make a motion that we adjourn. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?